If he fails, at least fails while daring greatly, so that his place shall never be with those cold and timid souls who neither know victory nor defeat. Tadhg Leader, I love this quote. This is a kicker's quote. This is exactly who you want to be. This is take it or leave it. This is everything and this is nothing. And I don't think the end of this fits this better than our guest today, who kind of was your first trip through leader kicking, the first guy to get a Division 1 scholarship in the United States. I think this guy epitomizes being in the arena, knowing probably only victory, but also knowing that he can kick off his right and can kick off his left. Would you agree?
Yeah, look, and there's no better man than Ross Bolger for that kind of quote there, fails while daring greatly. The reason I say that is because so often when we're training, especially going around some camps we did in America, was like, if it's not going to go according to plan, that's going to happen, at least in our terms, where you're ripping in and you're banging balls and you're being aggressive and you're going after it. Like, we're not going to die wondering. And that, I guess, coming back to being in the arena, like, let's leave no stone unturned. And that was something that was really big in my career. And then trying to talk to Ross and other lads I coach to adapt that mindset and like go bloody hard. Like, we're not going to look back and think, I could have done this or could have tried harder there. And when we went on it last year to America, Ross just from the first day we touched down on the ground, ripped in, and he ended up going home with loads of scholarship offers. And obviously, as you'll hear now, he went out to one and he set up leader kicking really well for year one as our little first kind of guinea pig of sorts, but he performed and we're lucky to have him.
Yeah, it must be nice for you kind of being the guy who's kind of set up this almost a new pathway, the international player pathway, which first time opened for kickers and punters, as we know, but kind of opening up a whole separate pathway that was previously like very limited, especially for Irish athletes, so you can bring them through to a college system. And today is our first time kind of hearing that, out of the horse's mouth. I'd like to say out of Leish's mouth, but it's out of the horse's mouth himself. We're getting it directly from him.
Yeah, exactly. And when Ross came to the first session, it was very much a concept of what we'd like it to be, but the actual path to that end destination, we didn't really know what it was going to look like. We had ideas, but we didn't know. And thankfully, the end destination has been far better than anything we could have imagined. And most importantly, I guess, is like the journey to that point was class. Like, we had some crack with it. So that's, I'm thrilled with that.
And I can't wait to hear more about that journey, and you're going to hear more about it right now. Welcome to Enter the Arena, and this is Ross Bolger. This man was probably the first man under the leader kicking pilot program under Tadhg Leader to get signed to an NCAA Division 1 scholarship from the Idaho Bengals. And no, he didn't only have one offer, he had multiple offers. This guy's super talented. He was a boxer, he's a rugby player. He was a GA player. Now he's a Division 1 kicker and punter of the Idaho Bengals. Of course, we're joined by Ross Bolger. Ross, how you doing?
Good. How are you, Conor?
Very well. Last time we met Ross, we were in the thick of it with the Pittsburgh Steelers versus Baltimore Ravens in their mid-season matchup, which saw a dramatic turnaround in the fourth quarter by the Pittsburgh Steelers. Obviously, this man bleeds black and gold, so it's fascinating to see you at that game. How have you been since then?
Good, yeah. So that was my bye week for my season, and then it was good to get away and see Ollie again, and that match was class, so it was nice to get to that. But
yeah, I can't imagine what it would have been like as a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. So if people don't know, it was a drab game. It was not great. It was not great. Lamar Jackson wasn't on form. Pickens wasn't on form. TJ Watt was actually playing well, but there was a lot of things going on there. And then all of a sudden, in the last few minutes, the game absolutely exploded.
Yeah.
But unfortunately,
I was gone.
You were gone. Why were you gone? What happened?
So I had to get the flight back. I left, I think it was just before the third quarter started, just at half time. I had to get the flight back to Idaho because I had a meeting the next morning.
The life of an NCAA athlete, ladies and gentlemen. We don't talk about the student-athlete balance enough, do we? Didn't we? He had to miss one of the greatest comebacks I think I've seen from the Pittsburgh Steelers, especially in a tough game like that. But anyway, we digress. Obviously, Ross is gone through the leader kicking program. You've kind of come through as kind of that first crop of athletes, you and Ronan Patterson. And there's been a few others that are kind of following in your direction this upcoming season. So if you want to kind of take a step back, at the moment you're playing with the Idaho Bengals in Division 1, correct?
Yep.
Your season has just ended.
Yep.
How did you do?
Personally, I did really well. I was really happy with how I played, and my special teams coach at the end of the year said the same. So did my head coach when we had evaluation meetings. They were really happy and said I was really valuable. And then as a team, we had 3 wins on the season, which wasn't great, but in the last 2 years they've won 2 games in 2 years, so it's definitely an improvement. Completely new coaching staff there, and we were a really young team as well. Like, we got in so much young transfers and all, so we'll be pushing for the playoffs next year definitely. But it was a good year to build on, you know, this new coaching staff and completely new team basically.
And obviously Division 1 is hyper competitive. It's the top division in NCAA, so it can be very hard to get even some wins. And obviously the national championship game is going to be on by the time this is released.
Yeah,
it'll already be over. It looks like it's going to be Michigan versus the Washington Huskies.
Yeah.
For any fans out there may be a few, but if you got a pick for that game at all, is there anyone you prefer to win? Is there anyone you think you're going to win?
Yeah, I do like the Washington Huskies, I have to say. I watched the games last night, and yeah, not a big Michigan fan, but so I hope the Huskies win. I don't have a dying love for either team or any of the other college teams, but yeah, I'd rather see the Huskies win. They're closer to me in Idaho as well, so
there you go.
Yeah.
All right, so let's rewind a little bit to a few years ago, where you'd never heard of the name Tadhg Leader, or maybe you did because you just had a weird niche love for underage Connacht rugby, you know, or MLR, the Boston Free Jacks. You just happened to be a huge fan, as well as the Pittsburgh Steelers. My second team was the Boston Free Jacks. Mm-hmm. So how did that whole thing kind of come about? How did you meet him?
So I was always into American football. When I say always, I mean I started watching when I was 14 or 15. Every Sunday I'd flick on Red Zone, watch the Steelers, and then after a few...
What kind of got you into that? Was there something that pressed you or your family into it?
No, nothing like that. I think I was just bored one Sunday evening flicking around the channels, and I just fell in love with the sport, kind of just watching it. It was my favourite sport to watch from then.
And it was a Steelers game?
It was the Steelers game. The terrible towels were swirling. It was an unreal game. They went to overtime with the Oakland Raiders at the time.
Oh, wow.
And it was a serious game. And then from then on, I just watched the Steelers every weekend. And if the Steelers weren't playing, I'd throw on Red Zone anyway. I just loved the sport, loved watching it. And then maybe 2 or 3 years after that, I started kind of realising how big college football was and the NFL draft and that. And so then I'd start, watching highlights again, college football games and all, saw the atmospheres there and looked unreal. And then, last September, I saw Tadhg promoting his leader kicking, and I was into the sport. I liked the kicking aspects of my sports. I played in Gaelic and rugby, and then I just...
Did you take frees in Gaelic? Because I know you played for League through your underage, and then all the way up.
Yeah, I would have been the new mark rule came in as well, so I was kicking a lot of place balls, so frees, marks, and then in rugby I was a goal kicker as well. So that was my favourite part of playing those sports, was the kicking side of things. I always felt like I had a big enough leg. And then when Tadhg put leader kicking up on Instagram, I think it was, I just signed up straight away and reached out to him, and from then on, did
it just kind of spark things off? Yeah, like had you ever thought before then, like, oh yeah, maybe we could kick a go at some point, or did it just not seem like there was a pathway there?
Yeah, so I remember I got myself an American football out in the back garden. I think it was during COVID. I'd kick it about. I hadn't a clue what I was doing, to be honest. I didn't know if I was good, bad, or anything. And then just once, like, everything dropped after COVID and we went back to normal, I didn't think anything of it. I must say, I just didn't know what I was doing, didn't know if I was any good. And then there was no pathway, like you said. And then when Tadhg started this up, I was like, well, here's going to be my answer if I am any good at it. So then me and Tadhg got on really well, obviously.
And then, so where was that first session? It was old Combine, or was it Ireland's Kicking King? Or
I was actually in Pittsburgh, so I lived in Pittsburgh for 3 months in the summer of 22.
Wow.
Playing Gaelic football for the Pittsburgh Celtics. And then when I was out there in August, I saw him promoting Ireland's Kicking King, but I was raging because I couldn't do it. I was in America, obviously. And then I was hoping that when I went home that there'd be something else. And then he kind of said, after Kicking's King, he's going to start up sessions weekly. And I was delighted. Went to that first session in Sport Ireland campus in Blanchardstown and didn't look back then.
Wow.
Yeah, I was meeting up with him every week then.
Okay, so do you think, or maybe you know, but do you think he like saw something in you during that first session? And also, do you think those like weird COVID sessions where you hadn't a clue what you were doing, did they kind of held you during that first?
Oh no, definitely not.
Okay.
No, like I mean, like I was the hills of Collection where I live. Like our house is a field and it's slope and everything. Sure, I was just kicking like anywhere and everywhere. That definitely didn't help me. Like I didn't do a whole lot of them, but. Yeah, when I was kicking into the net, I kind of noticed I had really high elevation on my kicks, and he said that to me. And yeah, it felt good kicking the ball, it felt natural. I knew from watching sport, I knew the steps, so something like that, the 3 back, 2 to the side was natural for me.
Like the majority of guys.
Yeah.
Not for everyone, but the vast majority of guys are 3 and 2.
Yeah, exactly. But and then Tadhg rang me after that session and said, look, great first session, I think you could really do this. And that was all I needed to hear, really, to chase that dream.
Yeah, he kind of scratched the itch a little bit, and then off you go. Okay, so at what point do you kind of, like, and I know he says he's going to continue the sessions, and that's what you saw, and it went well, and you're chatting away. So what point does, like, you know, all right, well, where's this actually going? Like, and, you know, like, what am I actually doing here? Because I'm trying to, like, I'm playing some football, and we're kind of coming out of COVID, so I'm going to back a bit of rugby. You know, I'm playing for DCU as well at the time. So, like, at what point does it go, like, oh, like, where am I going with this? Or where is this, what's the goal here, Tadhg, you know?
Yeah, I think when Brendan Call came over to Blackrock with Ken Kane was when I got...
And Brendan's a coach over in...
Brendan's a coach
Coast,
that worked with Tadhg when Tadhg was kicking as well.
Yeah.
And he was saying, it was the end of November, he was saying they were holding a kind of combine and meeting that day. And... I got feedback from an American coach who agreed with Tadhg. It wasn't just Tadhg, you know, blowing smoke. So it was
Which
good.
actually isn't uncommon for a Galway man.
Yeah.
So, like, I understand your reluctance there, Ross.
Yeah. No, but no, it was good to hear it off Brendan, obviously, as well. He was like, look, you've got a brother in New York. If you ever go out to him, hit me up. I can try, see if I can get you to work out for some colleges. So then when I heard that, I was kind of like, I went back to the parents, said that, and they were like, well, we can try get you over there for after Christmas for the New Year. And
so instant support.
Yeah.
From the family.
Well, yeah, to be fair.
Were they kind of like, all right, Ross has kind of lost it a little bit, but let's just try and entertain him. And see
like they hadn't a clue anything about it. They were kind of like, oh yeah. But then I kind of dropped everything for it. I put all my eggs in one basket. I stopped playing any other sport. I was just doing the kicking with Tadhg. Then I dropped everything. And
so what prompted that kind of? Did you see it? Did you feel it? Like,
yeah, I obviously trusted Tadhg, but I knew that he knew a lot about the sport, a lot about the kicking side of things, and I knew this was my dream as well. It wasn't something that like, oh, I'll try it and do it, you know, half-heartedly or anything. I just knew if I was serious about it, I'll go 100%, and I did. And thankfully, yeah, with Tadhg's work and Brendan's work, I went over to see my brother in New York and did a few sessions with Brendan, and then worked out for Pace University, who were a Division 2 team in New York, and clips from that went viral then.
How did that go? How did the workout actually go?
Went well.
That was your first one with a college, right?
Yeah, that was my first ever experience.
And you're just smashing balls.
Yeah, I had a meeting with the head coach for about an hour, and I was kind of like, oh, when am I going to get to kick? Because, like, you know, obviously a bit nervous. It was the first time kicking. The whole coach and staff were out. There's about 10 or 12 coaches all watching me.
And that's what a lot of people don't understand. Like, these tryouts aren't, you kind of just like rock up.
Yeah.
And then off you go, which sometimes is like less pressure.
Yeah.
It's they want to talk to you sometimes, and they bring out a bunch of other people who you've never met.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden you're kicking in front of like this weird little audience.
Yeah.
You know, you're like a little opera singer. So,
yeah.
Oh yeah, go hit a high E there, you know.
Yeah.
See how you go.
Yeah. But thankfully it got on really well. I did all 3 phases, punting, kick-off and field goals. And all in one 3.
And then why did it go viral?
Good for the left and right foot as well. That was the video that went viral.
Right, because you can actually kick off both legs, right? You can punt, kick off both legs.
Yeah, believe it or not, that was the first time I ever did it though. Because I was just rolling around on my right foot, and the head coach said, "Could you do it off your left?" And I never even thought about it, but I'd always kicked off both feet for Gaelic. So I was like, yeah, I just said yes straight away, even though I hadn't done it yet with Tiger. And
great answer. If anyone's listening, just pause that right now. If a coach ever asks you to do something, just say yes and then figure out afterwards how to do it.
Yeah.
So continue.
So then I rolled out off the left and just sent that ball as well. I was kind of like, thank God. But yeah, it felt natural though. And then Ty kind of ringing me after, he's seen the clips, and he's like, wait, how have you never told me that? And I was like, well, I never thought it would be helpful in this sport, but it is, you know. So that was funny, yeah.
Okay, so you go viral. TikTok is going insane.
Yeah.
Twitter is going insane.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, then obviously you're Division 2 school. Would you have jumped at a scholarship opportunity with them, or were you kind of like, maybe that's not where you want to be? But actually, I'm close to my brother, so maybe it'd be cool.
Yeah, like there was lots to think about. I did receive a scholarship offer from there, but Ty told me before, don't jump at anything there, because he still saw my potential and said, look, this would be a great experience, but if we can hold out for a Division 1 offer, that'd be great. And we kind of both agreed. And then once that clip went viral, all the Division 1 coaches started reaching out and stuff like that, so it was definitely worth holding out.
And so that summer trip you were taking, seeing all the colleges, obviously Delta were kind of helping you guys out a lot. I don't want to kind of tell the story myself, I'd rather hear from you, but how was that kind of like,
that was
them kind of helping you guys out?
Unbelievable. Well, we were all kitted out in our Delta gear as going onto the flight, and we were getting a few eyeballs on the plane, but
so you got a bunch of uniforms and from them, and
Elvery's helped us out, and Irish American Partnership were sponsoring us as well. But yeah, even getting onto the plane in Dublin, it said like, welcome Mr. Bolger on the card in front of me. I'd never had that kind of anywhere I went, so that was gas. And then once we arrived in Boston, we were just sent into this lounge while we were waiting for our Porsche to pick us up off the runway as well, which was
no big deal.
Yeah, free food and free everything there. While we were waiting, just walked down these steps. Some lad in a Delta Porsche just collected us, dropped us to the car rental spot, and just, I don't know how many flights we did in the end, but going from East Coast to West Coast and back again, and within 10 days we were flying with Delta the whole way, and it was unreal to have that kind of, we breezed through security, we had to skip security, we were brought through every airport within 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah, I think I remember, like, it might be a dream, but I remember getting a couple of Snapchats from Tadhg of, like, you know, the three of you in like the lounge.
Yeah.
You know, just living it up in between flights.
Oh yeah. It was,
you know, I think most people are used to, like, you know, sleeping on the floor, sleeping sideways across
we were in
chairs.
This private lounge with food coming in, drink whatever you wanted, and just waiting for the next flight, and then we'd just be kind of escorted right up to the skipping queues left, right and centre.
That seems like, I mean, the perfect introduction to be like, oh, well, maybe this is the life I want.
Yeah.
Maybe I will go for this.
Yeah, I was like, this isn't a bad gig after all. But sure, now I can't fly normally ever again, because I'm like, I have to go on this queue now. It's 20 minutes, half an hour long.
Ruined.
Yeah.
Ruined.
Yeah.
So how do you guys break down kind of making a choice then? Because against guys who've been kicking for years.
Yeah.
And up comes some fella from Laois who used to be kicking up a slope with a new ball.
Yeah.
And then, well, I'm not sure what school that is. You don't even have to mention it. But
yeah, there was two different colleges there that I did the kicking competitions at when I was on my visits.
And this is roughly what time? This is
June
2022?
June 22, yeah.
Okay.
Or 23, sorry. Last June gone. So yeah, I went from the workout with Pace in January to finishing my degree in DCU. And the second I finished my degree, I was gone on a flight for 10 days with Tadhg to visit these colleges and kick at these camps. And the camps went unbelievably well. That was another time of, it was kind of like combine aspect to it. You're kicking in front of all these coaches, all these different recruits, all these lads who've been kicking their whole lives, and they went really well as well. And I whipped out the left foot there as well.
Well, they went really well for us.
Yeah.
Not they went great for the other guy.
Yeah, that's true, yeah.
But and then you kind of, I guess you're trying to narrow down the school then. So
yeah.
I know it's kind of a fun reveal, doing the radio and stuff. But how do you kind of narrow down then? Because I guess at this point you're like, well, geez, I think I've made it now, Tadhg, have I? And Tadhg's like, yeah, no, this is great. So Did you have a few offers at this point from a few different?
Yeah, I had a few offers. My head was kind of scrambled. I didn't know what to think. This is the first time I'd ever had any decision like this to make. Obviously.
And there's been a few Irish guys before you that kind of paved that path that got into different schools, but this was kind of like one where you kind of came out of nowhere with very little training, and then all of a sudden you went to these combines, you're knocking it out of the park.
Yeah.
So that must have felt kind of a bit like surreal.
It was surreal, yeah.
So you said your head scrambled. It makes total sense to me. Like, you're looking at all of a sudden a few offers and you're like,
because there was even more offers on the table than what we had, because there was coaches coming up to me at the end of the camp. How long are you here for? Could you try fit us in for a day? And me and Tadhg kind of looking at each other. Could we do it or could we not? So yeah, head was completely scrambled, but I went with my gut instinct. I went with where I thought the best fit for me was, where the best coaches, the best vibe I kind of got was from Idaho State, and Tadhg agreed, and he thought I was an ideal place to kick at as well. And just the coaches were really nice. I met a few of the lads off the team as well. They were very sound, so I'm definitely have no regrets with where I picked.
And then you started, so when did you fly? You obviously went back home because you had to pack, etc.
Yeah.
Say goodbye to friends and family, paying for new life in Idaho. So then you started, did you get there in September?
I got there early August.
Oh, yeah, early August is training camp.
Yeah,
obviously.
Because I was meant to be out there earlier, but there was problems, well, not problems, but backlog with the visa, getting all this paperwork done. And then I rock up early August and they've already started August training camp, which is basically crunch time. It's when they decide positions and all. So I'm thrown right in the...
And were you nervous about not being the starting kicker? Did they have other guys that they brought in? But they had offered you a full scholarship, right?
Yeah. So the full scholarship was there, but now it was like, right, the full scholarship means nothing if I can't start. So yeah, there was probably putting a bit of pressure on myself, definitely. But went over there, it was kind of like sink or swim, competing with lads straight off the bat that I just met that day. And so I was mad in that sense. I had about 3 weeks to prove myself, and
oh wow,
thankfully I did. I was starting week 1 in San Diego then in September.
First game,
yeah.
And how many people were at that game? Was that against the Aztecs?
That was against the Aztecs, yeah. I think there was something around 30,000 and Tadhg and Lee Murray.
No pressure at all. I mean, it's basically like playing with Laois.
Yeah.
Under 20.
It was the same weather, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
San Diego actually has the same microclimate as Laois. People know that.
It was, and the same beaches and all, yeah. It was roasting evening, and Tadhg and Lee were there on the sideline for me, supporting me, so that was a very good experience. Kind of like, we made this kind of gig, between me and Tadhg at the end, like it was good crack, yeah.
Now obviously you've been through the journey, like the three of you all together. Obviously he's incredible. Like what's it like then, like calling your mom and dad afterwards?
Oh yeah, it's class.
Did you see me on TV?
Yeah, it was gas because the San Diego time was a night game. It was something like 7:30, 8:30 start. So back home it was
and it's an 8 hour time difference.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
So yeah, I think they stood up till 7 a.m. watching it, and it's class. Like they were basically saying how proud they were of me and all, and I was kind of like saying thanks to them for obviously supporting me from day one, because like you said, they were supporting me all the way. So it was class to kind of, show them that it was all worth it as well.
Yeah, I think the last barrier that, we need, especially from an Irish perspective, is kind of like, it's hard enough making a leap to go to a brand new sport. Mm-hmm. That's, an ocean away, another country, another time zone, everything else. But to have the hurdle of kind of like trying to convince your parents on top of that or everything else.
Yeah.
I think the theme is a lot of people who have come on, entered the arena is like, they just had so much support from their parents. And usually the parents haven't a clue what they're supporting. Yeah. It's mainly, like in terms of the sport and what they're doing, it's mainly actually just their kids that they support. Yeah. And the kind of the love they give them, which is kind of being a really nice team that we've been kind of chatting about lately. Being where you are, obviously amazing experience being in San Diego. That was just like outrageous, your first game. And being a D1 athlete, I mean, is kind of massive. I think people maybe kind of think like, oh, I'm on a scholarship, great stuff. But there's so much more to being a D1 athlete. I mean, there's NIL deals now for a lot of them. So a lot of them are getting actually paid quite a bit of money. They're not just getting education for free anymore. They're getting they're getting paid a lot of money. But can you tell me what your experience is kind of as a D1 athlete? You might even want to take me through kind of a game day from beginning to start, just so people can kind of picture it.
Yeah. So home game days, we'd wake up first maybe around 9 a.m. if we're talking about 4 p.m. kickoff.
That's tough. Have to get up by 9.
I know.
Yeah, okay. Continue.
Yeah, because us specialists, we don't be doing too much in the meetings in the mornings. But yeah, we'd meet, get breakfast, team meeting, and then we'd break up into individual position groups. And then we kind of do roll call, make sure everyone's locked in for if someone goes down with an injury, the next man is up or whatever.
And does that happen on game day sometimes? Someone trying to recover and they haven't been.
No, it would happen a lot, and it's mainly special teams we do it for. If someone is just gassed after they made a big run and they're supposed to be on the next kickoff, like just switch.
Oh, for in between the games.
Yeah,
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry. So yeah, they're just making sure everyone's locked in. Everyone knows who's second man up, who's third man up, even. Then we'd go home, chill out for about an hour, and then we're meeting back for a pre-game meal again around 12.
Now what do these meals entail?
We always get Olive Garden before game day, so I usually go for pasta and chicken and a bit of carbonara sauce.
Oh,
so yeah, I don't go with the bolognese on that day, but yeah, they have light salads and different stuff, and nice kind of actually the foods that we do be getting is actually class. Like just we get fed the whole time, and then from then on you're just getting locked in for the game. You're out in we're out.
You go out to eat. So you eat in the stadium?
We eat in the building beside the stadium. And then everyone's kind of just listening to their own music or whatever. And then
what's Ross Bolger listening to? What's on his play? A bit of Samantha Mumba or something?
Just Christy Moore, like.
Christy Moore, gotcha.
Yeah.
Male Samantha Mumba.
Yeah. But so then we're just kind of walking the field before the game, kind of taking it all in. And then you go back into the locker room, throw on a pair of shorts, your boots, and it's just kind of pre-game warm-ups. It's early outs is what they call it. So you're just getting a few reps in, nothing too mad.
Yeah, so at this point, just so people are listening as well, like you don't have pads on, you don't have helmets on. This is just you getting warmed up.
Yeah.
It's usually just you and the specialist, right?
Yeah, me and the specialist, a few quarterbacks are out throwing a few passes as well. And yeah, you can be in your own world. You can be out stretching for the full half an hour that you're out there if you want, but I like to get a few kicks in, stretch out, get a few kicks in, a few light ones, nothing too mad, and then head back into the locker room, and then you put everything on that you're wearing for the game. Pads, helmet, and knee pads and all that, and then you're back out for the warm-up with the whole team. So we do all stretch together. Kind of, we come out in different segments. We come out with the returners, so we're kicking to them early, and then say O-line, D-line come out together. Kind of, it's all
so you're going to pump balls out to the returners, and then get balls passed, and then go again.
Yeah, just giving them reps as well as us.
Yep.
And then we head back in for about 10 minutes before kickoff, and then run out to the field, flashing lights, music blaring, crowd's going mad. So it's a cool experience. And then for away days, we usually travel on a Friday. If the game's a Saturday, we travel on the Friday.
And college games are nearly always Saturday.
Yeah, they're always Saturday. So we usually practice Friday morning, a real quick, snappy session, nothing too mad, and then get a bus from the stadium to the airport, which is like 10 minutes away. We drive straight onto the airport and hop onto the plane and fly to wherever we're going. And
not bad. Now this is probably, is this Delta again, this airplane, or?
No, unfortunately no, it's not Delta.
Unfortunately, what is it?
It's Allegiant, I think.
Okay, yeah, gotcha.
And then once we land...
It's like commercial, which is rough.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Once we land, the bus is collecting us there.
So you land, walk off the airplane.
Bus on the runway, and we're just driving.
Bus is on the runway, straight on.
Usually before checking into the hotel, we kind of go see something touristy in the area. Like in San Diego, we went to a few beaches before the hotel. I remember we went to this waterfall in Portland, in Oregon, when we were playing Portland State. Like kind of, we do something just to chill out, go for a walk or something as a team. And then...
Because you get a lot of time to kill.
Oh yeah.
You got to figure, and like how many players again on the college football team? How many players are you bringing? Full squad, right?
Yeah, like we've over 100 on the full squad, and then bringing people to games would be near 80, 90 maybe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then at the front of the plane is all donors and people who help out the team as well, team doctors. So we're all in one plane. And it's just a really cool experience. Just, breezing by security again, like half the team would get kind of briefly checked before going on, but it's top class the way it's like being a professional, just hopping on the plane, landing here, bus collects you, just drops you here.
Headphones on, Christy Moore blaring. Okay, so you finish up your walk rounds then, so you're all staying in a hotel. You usually bunk up another player, you got your own hotel room? Or?
No, I've stayed with the same player every week, because the long snapper that I'm good friends with.
Oh, good.
So, yeah.
Was that by choice, or did they put specialists together?
There was no choice in it, but the guy who organised the rooms, he knows us well and knows who you're kind of friends with and all. So,
because in my experience, and not to cut off your story, but in my experience, so I am the only specialist in arena football.
Oh, yeah.
Because my long snapper was actually my wide receiver, Ramad Jackie Bowman. He just signed with Montreal, so good for Ramad. So like we would just get bounced around in different rooms all the time. Especially me, I would just be put around everywhere. But everyone kind of wanted to be me because I had the most amount of downtime. Yeah. So if anyone forgot anything, they could just like text me and just be like, "Hey, can you go grab?"
Yeah.
Because we're always doing nothing.
Yeah.
You know? So anyway, so you room up with someone next morning, then what's it look like? You hotel breakfast?
Yeah, hotel breakfast, and then it's kind of the same schedule as what I said for the home games, except
usually get booed when you run out.
Yeah, get booed. Who's that ginger lad there? Yeah, the stadiums do be packed. Played in a few hostile places.
What's the biggest stadium you played in?
I think University of Montana wasn't the biggest, but it was the best atmosphere because the fans were right at the bench and they were constantly like.
And if people don't know, there is nothing else in Montana.
Yeah.
And there's no buildings, there's no electricity, there's no water, there's no power. It is just football.
Yeah, just football
on that day.
A lot of beers as well, because there's a load of drunk lads just behind shouting abuse and all. It was nothing I haven't heard before. I've heard worse off my friends here in Ireland. So it didn't really get under my skin.
And then the best playing experience, would you say, of the season?
I'd say that San Diego game, to be honest.
The first one.
Just the first one. It was just mad. Like, I was like, geez, how am I here?
Will it bring a little tear to your eye?
No.
Be a little emotional?
No, I was too locked in.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's an athlete.
Yeah.
Athletes stay correct. There's no room for emotion.
But yeah, that was it. Without a doubt, University of Montana was the best atmosphere, and they're actually in the FCS National Championship game next weekend. So yeah.
Oh, massive.
Yeah.
Good luck, Montana, I guess.
I don't know. Yeah. We'll see.
So you said, obviously your grades are very important, not just during like the playing semester, but even the semester after during spring ball. Do you think it's been kind of hard to keep up your grades, or like do you want to kind of give us an idea of what it's like, kind of a day-to-day student athlete? Obviously you got to train a lot, but there's like, you're there doing a master's, let's be real, like obviously it's amazing to have that, but like you got to study too.
Yeah, so I'm studying masters in communications at the minute, and I really like the course. It's a great fit. A good few boys off the team are in with me in class, and then some classes I'm the only one there off the football team, so it's good to make friends and all. But yeah, after practice, everyone kind of heads off to class, has their own schedule.
And practice every day, or is it
practice
morning?
Every day, first thing in the morning. But on Thursdays we have walkthroughs, so that's the only day we kind of get to relax a bit. And then we lift, do a gym session Monday, Tuesdays, and then
mandatory for everyone.
Yeah, if you don't play on Saturday, you kind of usually lift 3 times a week. So maybe Thursday and Friday as well. Thursday or Friday. But yeah, mandatory lift at least 2 a week.
So you work out, you lift, then you start classes.
Then it's time to head to class, yeah. Because I'm doing my masters, a lot of my classes are in the evening time, which kind of gives me a nice bit of dead.
Your afternoon is kind of off then.
Yeah, I can take a nap if I want. Yeah,
of an athlete, just an athlete.
Yeah, have to recharge. But all the teachers, all the lecturers are really nice. They're all mad into football, so they all know you and support you as well. You get a few shout outs in class, so it's nice. And then, like I said, the coaches are making sure you're going to class. And
And even additional help on top of that, like, are you offered any like tutoring or offered any extra grinds classes, or you offered any help outside of that?
On Mondays and Wednesdays we have study hall in the evenings from 7 to 9 p.m. as well. So a coach supervises all of us in the classroom and we have to get our homework done. And then outside of that, you have tutors constantly reaching out to you and making sure everything's okay. If you need help, I'm here for you. So it's...
Now, was that very different than DCU? Was it kind of like it was?
It's kind of, from my experience, like I'm obviously on my own in DCU. No one's reaching out. No one from even a Gaelic football standpoint to be like, oh, make sure you pass your classes or anything because we need you for next semester or whatever. But no, over there it's talked about every single day, making sure about you're staying on top of your studies. If you need any help, let us know. It's an everyday thing that they'd be saying, and a reason why as well is because if you haven't got your GPA high enough, you can become ineligible to play football as well. So
you can't actually play.
Yeah,
if you're not keeping up with your good grades.
Yeah, exactly. So I think that's why it's a huge part of it as well. But it's good because it makes everyone stay on top.
Pressure on. I remember that from Coach Carter, and that was like a high school basketball team.
Yeah, exactly.
Pressure on having to be like up in a certain grade and a certain level, and obviously in lower income neighborhoods it's a lot tougher. But that sounds fantastic. They have all that support and help you out in school and kind of.
So basically, there's no excuse not to get good grades.
Yeah, and you're not wasting a master's.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, exactly.
So what's next for Ross Bolger? Obviously, training away, working away in your degree over there.
Yeah. I'm doing a master's at the minute, so the education side is obviously a big part of it. The coaches make sure you're on top of that, you're getting your good grades, you're going to class, so that's obviously an element of it. And then when I go back over next week, I'll be straight into conditioning, a lot of gym sessions, and then come the end of February we'll be starting spring ball, which is basically another 4 weeks of football to kind of just stay on top of it, really. Yeah. Not just doing run and gym the whole next 4 months.
And so if your goal was to start this year and like get one season under your belt, do you have a goal for next year?
Yeah, like I've talked about that with my coaches and all. They definitely think I've the potential to be, this all conference first team and stuff like that. So that's definitely a personal goal of mine. And then would be looking...
What's all conference first team mean to maybe some GA guys listen to this or watch?
Yeah, it's basically like winning an all-star. Well, like... from a GA perspective.
But in college?
Yeah. It's like team of the year, basically. So that's what it is. And so I'll be eyeing that up next year. And then I'll be graduating in December of this year. So after that, I'll be looking at the possibility of joining the NFL International Pathway Program.
Okay, now you're allowed to enter the draft?
Yeah.
Would that be an option? Do you think you might consider that?
Oh yeah, 100%, yeah.
Oh yeah? And if that works?
If that works, sure, happy days. Do you know what I mean? Can't complain there.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's it's nice that there's someone there already. Like obviously Daniel Whelan plays for the Green Bay Packers. He went through it the kind of more traditional route that I guess you pretty much tried. Although Daniel was already over there. So I mean, would there be a preference on teams? Not the hint, wink, wink.
Yeah, obviously Pittsburgh Steelers, but I don't think I could complain if any NFL team was interested or picked it up. I think you'd be mad to.
Exactly. Okay, and so let's just say, for argument's sake, for example, let's just say you get to the draft, you get drafted, say 6th round, Buffalo Bills. Just throw it out there. Okay, I have a great career. It's like 12 years, and you're 34, and you go back to Laois. Are you going back to play football? You go back to play rugby? You stay in the States?
Good question.
Happy? Is Ross Bolger happy?
Yeah, it depends if the wife is American or Irish as well. I don't know if she's American, I don't know if she'd settle in Lochlainn, like. But yeah, I could come back and play a bit of junior B football or something, But yeah, that's a question for future me, I'd say.
And is that the goal? Like, if like, I know we're kind of horsing around here, but is that the goal for Ross? Like, are you looking to see like, yeah, no, I've got it. This is the NFL. This is my dream, and I'm going to go for it and be there for as long as I can.
Yeah, 100%. And the good thing is these days it's not NFL or bust, because there's so much other. There's the CFL, the XFL. There's other professional ways to play football, which is good as well. So yeah, I'm definitely have my eyes set on that at the minute, and I'll give it everything. And if it doesn't work out, so be it. I'd have a great life experience and stories that I'll remember for the rest of my life. So yeah.
And if it wasn't for leader kicking or Tadhg,
Yeah.
where do you think you'd be right now?
Probably on the high stool there in the Glenside in Collection, maybe talking about what could have been. I don't know. I'd still be probably in college doing a master's here, playing Gaelic football. To be honest, that's what I'd be at.
Right.
Yeah, just still living what I was like a few years ago. To be honest, that's where I'd see myself. But probably still looking at the NFL every Sunday, wondering how hard it is to kick that ball through the yellow post as well. I'd probably be doing the same.
And now you're doing it every week.
Yeah.
Easy
Yeah.
peasy. Living a dream.
Yeah.
Ross, been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming on.
Yeah.
Enter the Arena. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been Ross Bolger, obviously with the Idaho Bengals. He's got one more season left. You can watch him on YouTube. You can follow him on Instagram. He's got a great story. The ambidextrous kicker who went viral on Twitter. Can't wait to see you play next season, to be honest. I watched a couple of games this season. It was really exciting. Can't wait to see what happens with you and leader kicking and all the other guys that have gone through the IPP. There seems to be a wave of Irish people. So if you enjoyed this podcast, if you enjoyed Enter the Arena, consider rating it, consider sharing it, consider making some comments on it. All those things help kind of promote our podcast, and I'm sure we'll hear lots more from Ross Bolger, and we have lots more episodes on the way. So thanks for listening to Enter the Arena.